Okay.
So yeah, hello guys. It's another day to continue our coding journey. So today we are going to be learning Tailwind basically. And so today we intend to do maybe a simple introduction to what Tailwind is and also how we can install Tailwind on our, or let's just say how to install Tailwind and like use it to build projects. Excuse me. So that's basically all we have to do. How we have to do today. So first things first, let me give you a simple introduction to what Tailwind is. By the way, I have Toby and Bolu with me on stream today. So,
Hello, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
so, in case you are wondering what Tailwind is, so Tailwind is basically a better way or more efficient way to write your CSS or basically build projects. So normally the way we write it or the way we have been writing it or the way we know how to write stylings for our code or our HTML structure is basically writing a separate CSS file or maybe writing our CSS within a style tag in our project. But it will basically just help us break that barrier. So Tailwind basically help us break that barrier. So one thing we should know about is that Tailwind is a utility first CSS framework that helps you to like start websites faster. So when they say utility first, the only thing you should know you should put in mind is basically what you want to gain, like what you want to gain, what you want your CSS to look like. So when you think about okay, how will I write this in CSS? Then you will now like convert it to how it is written in Tailwind. So if you are the best in CSS, you won't have issues writing Tailwind at all because it's basically just writing the same thing but in different syntax. Just like we can speak Yoruba, we can speak English, we can speak Hindu, we can speak Spanish, we can say different things in all those languages. Or let's just say we can say the same thing in all those languages, but in a different way. But they still mean the same thing. Do you understand? So that's basically what Tailwind help us do with CSS. So we can write the same thing in CSS and Tailwind, but we are still like trying to get the same results. Do you understand? So that's basically how Tailwind works. So Tailwind is basically like a shorter or more efficient way to write our CSS code. So just with in mind, if you want to like make the English polish, it's a utility first CSS framework. Ready to start a website directly in HTML using small or reusable classes. So that's the best way to like explain what they will use. So some things like maybe you want to give a color, you want to give stuff like that, you have to like specify first thing you have to call the element you want to like style. That's accessing the elements in CSS. But in Tailwind, you don't have to access element. You just go to element street, write a class attribute, then write your stylings within that class attributes, then you are good to go. So that's basically how Tailwind works. But Tailwind does not just work on its own. You have to like prepare the project to write Tailwind before it now works as it's expected to. So that's what we are going to be learning today. And if time permits, we are going to move further into learning like simple stuff in Tailwind. Guys, you want to say anything before we continue?
No.
Um, to become. So first things first, what we should know is this. Let me share my screen. Sorry, my guy just left now. So first things first, what we should know is that we have gotten to the part of tech where we actually make research from online, like because most of the things we are going to learning from here on out have documentations online. So Tailwind is the first thing we should put to that. So basically, Tailwind has a website of its own where you can basically get information about it. Everything you want to know in Tailwind is there. So it's called tailwindcss.com. So when you search for tailwindcss.com, you can have access to previous versions of Tailwind. That's you can see 4.1 up to the even beginning of Tailwind. So maybe you want to work on older versions, or you see that you are most comfortable with like the older versions of Tailwind. But the best version is still the latest ones to use. So just work with the latest ones because it's basically just easier to work on there. So we have the version 0.74, 1.9.6. The latest one is 4.1, and that's the best version so far. That's based on my experience using it though. So basically everything you need to know is basically here on this Tailwind platform. So what we need to just do is go to the docs of this Tailwind, then we see basically all we want to see there. So the first thing in this documentation is basically how to install Tailwind into your project. So depending on the project you are building. So if you were to be working on a React project, I don't know if you know about React. So React is also a JavaScript framework. That's the JavaScript framework that used to like write front end code. So that's what React does. So but if you were to be like writing React code, you can also implement Tailwind into your React. So this is like the basic process or basic steps to follow when you're doing React. But since we are doing with just basically pure HTML, we have two methods me I advise to use. We can either use the Tailwind CLI or the Play CDN. So this Play CDN is like the easiest way to implement Tailwind, easiest way to implement Tailwind. So in this Tailwind, in this Play CDN, the thing you need to do is basically come here, then you're going to see this JavaScript link here, this one, yeah, that one. So you just basically copy it, enter your HTML code, create the boilerplate code that we always create. That's just basically pressing Shift +1, then you create that standard boilerplate code. Then you paste that code within the head tab. Then you can write as many Tailwind code as you want. But it is not advisable when you want to build complex projects because you just use this one to like maybe test something out or build a single page website or something that just personally for you. That's what I advise it to be. Maybe you're practicing something, you can use this place CDM method. But when you're building a standard project, maybe you're working for somebody or you're building a project to be deployed for the general public, then it's advisable to use the second method. That's the Tailwind CLI method. So that way to like implement things in like, and that's what we'll be teaching us today. I already taught us how to use this placement, so just copy it and paste it inside the head tag, then write your CSS your Tailwind CSS code within it. So you shouldn't have any issues. So but now inside time we learn this uh Tailwind CLI method. So the first thing we have to do is basically sure that Node.js was installed in our PC. I told us in the last stream that to be prepared for this stream, you should install Node.js. You should install Node.js because that's like Node.js is basically like a marketplace where we can get installations to different libraries. Do you understand? Different libraries, different tools to work efficiently in the coding world generally. As long as you are working with something that's pertaining to JavaScript or something that Node has in its market. You know, I told you that Node is like a marketplace. You can get stuff from there. As long as Node has it, you can download it from there into your project. So that's basically how it is. So to ensure that you have Node on your PC, you basically just open your command prompt. We're doing more of command prompts now. So you just open your command prompt, that's CMD, a search for CMD command prompt. You basically just type node version. So node version basically just tells you what version of Node.js you have on your PC. That's what it does. So basically just help you ensure that Node is on your PC. If it does not, like maybe your PC tells you an error, that means you don't have Node on your PC or it does not understand what you have typed. So so to know if you have Node, you just type something like this: Node then hashtag, double dash then version, like then press enter. So the version of Node on your PC is going to appear. So the version of Node I have is the version 22.13.1. So that's version of Node I have. I don't think this is the latest version though. But if you want to get Node, you basically just come here to the Node website as well. So you have Node.js download like this. Someone search for that. Uh, link that comes up. You click on this. Then you choose the machine you're working on. Means long time support. That means in long run, you might not need to like download newer versions because there are multiple versions. See, the most current version is the 25.6.1. That's the current, but it's not advisable to download that one because in the long run it might crash because it does not have long time support with it. This is the one I have, this 22 long time support. That's why I'm still using it here. So we have this 24.13 here. That's one I advise us to download since it's like the closest to the latest and it has LCS support. So you basically just scroll down and choose the machine you're working on. I'm using a Windows program machine, so I'll just leave it. If you're using Mac or Linux or this, you can just click on it and press your Windows installer or whatever comes up in your own device. So just click on it. So you click on this Windows installer, then it starts to download immediately. So I'm going to have to delete this since I already have it on my PC. So when you're done downloading it, you basically just click on the installer, then install it on your PC. So when you're done with that, sometimes when you just install it and you run this node version, it might not work. It might give you an error. What is advisable to do is basically just restart your PC. After you restart your PC and you ensure that you install it properly, then it should work afterwards. You should not have any issues after that. So it's advisable to download, then restart your PC, then make sure that it works perfectly. So that's that. In some cases, some people's PC maybe have some issues and you are not able to like install the MSI. You can download this zip version. When you download it, there are some steps that you have to follow to like make sure that zip is working. So the step is that when you download this zip, extract the zip. When you have done extracting the zip, you're going to see a file, like a folder. I mean, enter the folder, click on the bin. Then when you click on the bin, copy the URL of that bin. That's the file path to the bin. Then when you're done copying it, you come and search for what's that? Environment variables. I'm talking about the Windows PC now. I don't know how it's done in Mac. So edit system environment, become environment variables, then come to your system variables. You see part here, just double click, then you paste it. You click on new here, then you paste the parts that you have copied into here, then press OK. So when you're done with all of that, it should automatically work on your PC. So that's basically the second method to which we use Node.js or apply Node.js or install it on our PC for work. So that's basically the two ways to which you can install Node. So without any issues or without any questions, we can now continue. And Bolu, do you have something to say? I should continue. Okay, Chidinma is as well.
Continue, continue.
Okay, okay, sure. Good morning, Chidinma.
Good morning.
So that's basically all about Node. So if Node is like installed on our PC, next thing we need to do is now basically just create our Tailwind project. So we'll just come here. So just like we are working on HTML project, just like we're working on HTML project, so basically just create folder, create a new folder. So we have desktop.
I want to ask, how do you check if node is
Anyway, you want to
on your
create a folder. Me,
PC?
I have my folder inside my.
Can you hear me?
Okay, open your command prompt. I explained that before.
I was not here. Okay. So when I open the command prompt,
Sorry, guys. I think network logged me out just now. I'm back, sha. So Chidima, you're asking on how to like know if Node was on your PC, bar.
hmm,
Okay.
yes,
So you just open your command prompt like this. If you have opened your command prompt, you can see my screen now.
yes, I can.
Okay. You open your command prompt, then you type node version like this, then you press enter. So if your version shows, that means node is installed. But if
Okay,
it does not, you go to the node website, download the node and install it. Then type that node version again. If it comes out, then it is installed. But if it does not come out after I have installed it, just restart your PC and try it again. It should work automatically. So that's that.
okay.
Yeah. So let's continue. So when we are done with that, we can basically just now create our project. So to create your project, you basically just open your file explorer, open your projects. So, mm, so you create a folder like this. So new folder, sure. Then you can now create your project. So let's say we are saying Tailwind 1.0. That's the name of the folder. Press enter. Then you open the folder like this. So when you're in the folder, you want to open that folder with your VS Code. So you work with it. 1.0. You open with code. So you should have your projects like this. It's basically initialize that particular project. Since you're working with the Tailwind project now, but you want to initialize your folder to work with the Tailwind project. So you basically open your terminal. To open your terminal, you click on backtick. I mean control plus backtick. So open your terminal. So if you don't know what backtick is, the key that is directly on top of your tab key is the backtick key. So you press control and that key. So at least for my keyboard, that's what is there. I don't know about your keyboard. If you don't know, you can basically just search on how to get your tab key. I mean your backtick key. But if it's not there, you can just click on this view. I think it's view. Then you see terminal. Yeah, it's terminal. If you click on it, it's going to automatically come up for you as well. So after that, you basically just press npm init dash y. Init stands for initialize. So npm stands for node package manager. So we are working with node here. So we have to work with node package manager. So we are saying we want to initialize this project with the node package manager and we press enter. So our project is now initialized. Sorry, let me check all the errors. If you're having these errors, you can check your change it to command prompt. That's the terminal I use. You change it to command prompt. Sometimes it misbehaves on PowerShell terminal. So when you change it to command prompt, then try it again. npm init dash y. So you can see it has initialized the project for us as we change to our package. Our CMD terminal. So what we are doing there is basically opening this package.json file. So this package.json file basically just holds information about our project and all the what's it called now? All the packages that we have inside our project. Packages in the sense that all the things we are installing to work with, like Tailwind CLI now is a package we are trying to install. So after I have initialized the project, next thing to do is basically go back to that Tailwind CSS project. So you basically just hold all the information you need to create your project. So the first thing you want to download is this npm install Tailwind CSS at Tailwind. So just copy it like this, then come here. Is it? No. So then come here and press Ctrl V, then install. So depending on how your fast your internet is, it's going to install that one for you. My
Can you
network is
send
kind of
the
slow.
notes to the class on the group?
Can I send what? Okay.
The notes to the class on the
Okay.
group.
I don't have a note though. This
That
particular
Tailwind
one, I don't have a
one.
note for it though. I'm just saying. And that's what I'm saying. I don't have a note for this installation.
No, like this particular Tailwind CSS. Now, just send the link so that we can go over it on our own. This particular page I'm
Okay,
seeing now.
okay, okay. It's
Send
not
us the link to.
okay. Just at tailwindcss.com on your Chrome.
Okay.
It's Tailwind website. I'll type it in the chat now. Tailwind CSS.com. That's it. So you can click on it or copy and use it. Have you seen it? It's on the private chat inside
I've
this
seen
stuff.
it.
Then when you're on the page, you can now select the docs. This docs, then you'll be there. So now our
I should select
Tailwind
which books. I
has
didn't see.
installed. You can see it say found zero. What do you say?
I didn't see what you did. I should select which
Chidima,
box.
I said docs, the
Can you
docs
hear me?
tab. This one.
Okay.
Yes, I can. This one. So click on it. You see getting started with Tailwind CSS. Then you can now click on Tailwind CLI. So you have all of this. So you cannot copy and paste those things. Just remember that the first thing you are doing is initializing your project. That's npm init dash y in your command prompt terminal. Boli, you are with me now?
Yes.
Sharp. So after you have initialized your project and you have created the project, then next thing to do is create a folder inside Tailwind CLI. I mean Tailwind 1.0. That's like the root project. The root. So you create SRC. It can be named anything actually, but the general name people use is SRC. Then inside it, you have to create two files: the index.html file. Then you create another CSS file. Most of the time they use input your CSS because that's what is inside your what's it called? The Tailwind you can see src input or CSS. What's inside the Tailwind documentation? But it can be any name actually. So after you have installed this first command here, next thing to do is basically just copy this and paste this inside here. So when you have pasted that, you now go and follow the next step. So that's where we come to this. So this particular long line of coding, what it does is basically just help you to run Tailwind on your local server. That's basically what it helps you to do. It helps you run Tailwind on your local server. So if you have to run this immediately, like this, if you contribute and run it, it's going to work. But just know that the next time you are coming to run your project again, you have to run that particular line of code again. But it's not really easy because you are not expected to like cram all of this in your head. So what me I advise to do is basically just copy it. That's copy it out of there. When you have copied it, you come inside a package.json file like this. Then you come inside the script object. You can see the script object bar. You come inside it. Then you press command like this and press enter. Then basically create a new script that is going to hold that particular command for you. So it'll be like this dev. I use dev most of the time. So put your colon, then a quote, then you now paste that command in it. So what you want to do now is basically just run npm run dev. So when you write dev, you're basically just referencing this line of code that you have here. So when you run that, you're basically running your Tailwind as you're supposed to run it as well. So you don't have any issues. So if we were to run this normally straight from the beginning, it's still going to give us the same result if we were to run npm run dev as well. So it's still the same thing. So but this one is easier to put in your head rather than this long line of code. So what we are doing now is basically just type npm run dev and press enter. Then our Tailwind starts to run. So you can see we have input.css and output.css. So this output.css is automatically created for us. So it basically just hold like most of the CSS code one can use in writing anything you want to write in Tailwind or in CSS. Basically, those all the information that you need to like create the best, or let's just say create any styling or any whatsoever you want to create. It has everything there for you. So basically just exports what you want and places it where you want it to be. So that's basically what you want to do. So after you have finished this, then you are good to go to write your CSS or Tailwind CSS code. But that's just like half of what you need to do. So what basically just brings what you have done in the background to play is basically now your HTML. So you have your boilerplate code here. Then you're going to link HTML to CSS. But you're not linking it to the input CSS that you created. You're linking it to the output of CSS. So you just say link CSS, then link to your output of CSS. So dot slash output of CSS. Then you're good to go. So that's basically it. That's basically it when it comes to creating a Tailwind project. So if you were to test if it's actually working now, you want to test maybe like using H1 tab. So hello, welcome to Tailwind CSS chart like this. Normally, if we were to style this with CSS, we're creating another file or creating a style tab. But now we don't have to go through all those strings. What we need to do is just basically come here and type our class attributes like this and write our styling inside the class attributes. So what we want to do now, just presently go live, then we'll see how it comes out before we write the styling. So you can see hello, welcome to Tailwind CSS. Set it small now. Welcome to Tailwind CSS chat. So next thing, we'll now write our styling to make it how we want it to be. So first things first, let's change the color. So say text, then write the color we want. So we text blue. Then how thick do you want blue to be? So you now come here and say maybe like 7 or 600. Basically just gives you the color you want. If you want it to be big, you say text maybe like 6XL. Then you cannot put underline here. Okay. So it basically just works. So you can see that our Tailwind CSS now works perfectly. So these are just example style attributes that we have. Let's say style utility classes that we have talked about. So we'll talk about more after we have gotten it to this part that we are. So any questions before we move forward?
Okay, so the output CSS, you created it yourself, right? As a file.
No. I did not create it myself. When you run that command, it auto creates by itself.
Okay.
Bully, don't create them. Don't create the project.
There's no light to my laptop is off, so
Oh,
I'm watching it on my phone.
okay.
And I'll just go and rewatch the
Yeah,
video again.
yeah, yeah. Well.
I would have created it, but I need to turn off my laptop so that the Node.js
Oh, the thing
can.
is bringing that issue. Yeah,
So maybe after the class, I
no
would
problem.
do everything.
No problem. So one thing we should also download within our VS Code is also Tailwind Intelligence. An extension that basically gives you like a little of assist when you're writing your utility classes, right? So maybe you are typing something, you cannot always store the utility classes in our head. So let's say just gives you the idea of what you want to do. So if I write text like this, you can see options came out for me. And I'll say maybe blue. So you cannot select anything from me. So what controls that is basically Tailwind Intelligence. So I'll just basically come here and type Tailwind Intelligence. So this first one, Tailwind CSS Intelligence, then you install it. So when you install it, then it should automatically start working like that for you as well. So every other thing comes to play. So we'll learn more about all this utility class later. So what do you guys think? Should we continue learning about it or we should just digest this one for now? Then in the next stream we'll continue. I think it's more efficient when we learn simple things each day rather than learning a lot of things and not getting anything out of it. Underline text to
Yeah, it's more
Excel.
practical.
Okay. So text so we check this. So we have this. So we'll learn more about Tailwind and how we can implement more of the utility classes later on in this. So that's going to be on Friday. Yes, I think I've gotten a lot from what we have today. So let me just give you a little recap. So first things first, to start using Tailwind, you need to install Node.js. And after that, you come to your tailwindcli.com. Then we have two methods. We can either use PCDN or use this Tailwind CLI. Actually, there are more methods, but all these other ones are not for pure HTML and CSS. I think this post CSS too can be used as well, but I don't really use it. I don't use it. The one I use is this Tailwind CLI and PCDN. So for PCDN, what you need to do is basically come here, copy this first link that's in the copy. When you have copied it, come here inside your edit tab, then Control V. Then when you write anything with project, automatically just starts. Anything we put automatically starts working. So, but for Tailwind CLI, you have to go through a particular step. So you basically just come to Tailwind CLI here, install it one after the other, and follow instructions that you have. But before you follow all of this, you have to initialize your project. And to initialize your project, you basically just create a folder. Then inside your folder, open it in your VS Code. Open that particular folder inside your terminal. Then run npm npm init -y. So you are basically initializing your project. Then after that, you now install your Tailwind CSS and continue with the steps that we have inside here. So that's basically all we did today. And Tailwind CSS is basically a utility first way of styling code. So instead of writing CSS, everything you're writing is from here, the writing code step by step. You basically just create a CSS attribute within the HTML tag you want to create. Then you write the CSS code, the Tailwind CSS code inside the class. So Tailwind most of the time is like a shortcut of a particular thing you want to write. Because if we were to looking at the example we have here, if we were to write the text color in our CSS, we have to first call h1, then we not say color, then we not call the color we want. But this one, you just write text blue 600 and it gives the color for you. You don't have to go through, text to break the barrier of like going through a lot of process before you style your HTML. So that's one of the advantages that come with CSS. Another advantage is that it is easier to like do responsiveness on CSS because it works with the break points. Unlike pure CSS where you have to use media query to write. In Tailwind you work with breakpoint. That means you basically just tell it how you want it to look like on small screen directly. So if I want this one to look different on a small screen, I can just write SM and put the column, then put something else there. And I'm going to write it with text red 500 like this. So when I run this command or that particular project on a small screen, it's not going to be blue again. It's now going to be red. Let's take for example now. So look at it, it's blue here. If I'm to run my media, mobile simulator now for a small screen, it's going to become red. Okay. What's wrong with this one? Okay, you can see as media with greater than equals to 40 rem. Okay. MD. So when we are using small screen, that means we're telling you that from small screen and above, that's from small screen and above. That's why our big screen was also getting it. But if you want it to be only for small screen, you have to also specify for medium screen. And our laptop mainly falls on that medium screen. So when we check it now, it's black now because maybe that size is too small. But if you don't even want to check it here, let's not check it in this one. Let's use the inspect. So if we reduce it, so you can see at the point it changes to, so this is like a small screen. So at this point it changes to this red color. Or bigger than this, it changes to blue again. So that's basically how we like write this. So it's easier to do responsiveness here than in Tailwind, where you have to write everything in media query. So that's another advantages that come with using Tailwind. So it's easy to use as long as you know what you want to do in pure CSS. You can basically just write it in the Tailwind format. So that's the basic analogy. That's the basic analogy of of it. So yeah. Uh in case, do we have anything to say before we conclude? I think that's all for today. Do you have anything to say? Chidima, Bolu, Toby. Is Toby even there? Sir?
I'm not sure. Nothing from my side.
So yeah, do we have anything to say before we conclude?
Nothing from my end.
Okay. Bolunko.
No, no, no.
No. So that marks the end of today's stream. So yeah. So you can always like, subscribe, and also tell a friend about our platform. So basically just helps us improve to get that. So yeah, we'll meet again on Friday. Bye.